In the story, there is both joy and learning. Just as we spread motivation from Mahatma Buddha's stories, your subscribing to our channel motivates us. So please subscribe to this channel now. Let's start the story. Once Mahatma Buddha was going somewhere with his disciples. On the way, they saw an old man who appeared very distressed. Sometimes he laughed loudly, and sometimes he cried loudly. It seemed as if he was insane. Buddha approached the man, and as soon as he saw Buddha, he fell at his feet and said, "I have always denied everything, never believed in you. Forgive me. You were right. Today, I have come to understand that everything you said was the truth." Buddha wiped his tears and gave him food to eat. The man was extremely hungry. He started eating. He ate like there was no tomorrow and kept crying. All of Buddha's disciples were watching this. They asked Buddha what had happened to this man, that his mental balance had been disrupted. Buddha said, "He has attained knowledge. Go and learn from him." The disciples approached him and asked, "What has happened to you, Baba? Will you tell us?" The old man said, "A few years ago, I met Mahatma Buddha and heard his teachings, but I found them worthless. I thought he was of no use. His teachings were not necessary to live life. I always opposed him to the extent that I even conspired against him so that people would not follow his preachings. I remember Buddha had said never to misuse wealth, never indulge in addiction, never lie. But I did exactly that, and it gave me pleasure. I wasted money and indulged in intoxication, even though I knew Buddha had prohibited all of this. The people who followed Buddha's teachings, even if they had nothing, still lived in happiness. And it is this thought that makes me cry today, wishing I had listened to Buddha's words. I laugh at the very thought that, like me, others also realize these things in old age and regret not understanding these principles earlier. I remember Buddha once said, "As our thoughts are, so we become." The disciples asked, "You have this much knowledge. Will you share it with us so that we can also gain wisdom and live life correctly?" The wise old man replied, "You all are disciples of Mahatma Buddha. Only he knows the depths of life. He can explain it to you properly. No one else can. But still, what I have understood, I will share with you." Then he began to speak. "We have seen from childhood that life is like a race. We keep running in it. When we are young, we think we should have every toy that no one else has. My mother was very strict, always scolding me, but I wanted freedom. When I didn't get it, I used to think it would be better if I died. After that, I thought that once I grew up, I would have everything and my freedom, and I would live life my way. Later on, when I grew up, all these desires seemed futile, but the race was still ongoing. I wanted to earn more than my friends so that I could have all the good things for myself, nice clothes, a good house, and show them that I was more talented than they were. For that, I plotted schemes and told lies, but I didn't even realize that I was doing something wrong. Sometime later, my parents arranged my marriage. The girl who came into my life was very beautiful, and I liked everything about her. She supported me in everything, but even after a long time, we didn't have any children. I looked at my friends' kids with envy, thinking who would carry on my name in my old age. Then the day came when I had a son, and I was overjoyed. But after some time, I thought, I wish I had another son. Then both my shoulders would be strong. And God listened to me. I had another son. Everything was going well. My business was prospering. My wife said it was all because of my hard work, that I had become so successful. My parents hadn't done anything, and they were old now. He should go on a pilgrimage. I used to agree with everything she said. When I mentioned this to my father, he declined, and that's when I began to see everything my father said as wrong. He wouldn't let me make independent decisions in business either. I wanted freedom now, and God listened to me. Suddenly, my father's health deteriorated. The doctor said that he should meet anyone he wanted to, as there wasn't much time left. I should have been sad to hear this, but I was getting happy, thinking that I would finally be free. My father remained in the same condition for 6 days. Everyone had already met him. The next day, my wife and I went to see my father, and she said, "Now he has met everyone. Why isn't he dead yet?" I always thought my wife was right, and I believed everything she said. The next day, when I entered my father's room, I saw that he had passed away. My mother was sitting there alone, crying. When I saw my mother like that, I couldn't help but cry. I thought I would make my father's last journey very grand, so that everyone would know how much I loved him. I did just that, and everyone praised me for the beautiful farewell I gave him. Inside, I was extremely happy, but I had to show a sad face. Now I was free, and I did everything my way. The desire to earn more money grew in me. I dived into the pursuit of wealth, and I succeeded. I became the richest man in my town. Slowly, time passed by. My 2 sons got married, and I started aging. But the race was still on. I married my sons to the daughters of wealthy businessmen to increase my profits. As I grew older, my wife left me, and that's when I first felt the loneliness of being alone. That's when I heard about Buddha and decided to visit his ashram. However, his teachings were different from my thoughts, and I didn't agree with him. There were others like me at the ashram who didn't agree with Buddha's teachings. I saw them as my well-wishers, and I didn't listen to Buddha. Time continued to pass. As my health deteriorated, I confined myself to my bed. I consulted the best doctors, but there was no improvement. One day, my elder son came to me and said, "Father, you can't work anymore. Let me take over the business, and I'll also take care of our younger brother. Transfer all the business in my name." I replied, "I am not going to die now. I am just unwell, but I'll recover." Later, my second son also came and told me that my elder son had a drug addiction problem. He said, "Father, you know what kind of person he is. Trust me, transfer everything to my name, and I'll manage everything just like you." Again, I refused, telling him that I was not going to die, just unwell, and I would recover. But this time, God didn't listen to my words, and the doctor told my sons to do what they must. At this point, my daughters-in-law started crying, and my sons called all the relatives. Everyone came to see me, and they asked, "How will we manage without you?" I was alive, but it felt like everyone was already mourning my death. That day, I realized the futility of my actions and how selfish everyone around me had become. Now, my own sons were fighting over my inheritance, and their wives were supporting them. I realized that earning money was useless. It couldn't heal me. I wasted my entire life behind this pursuit. I did wrong deeds, indulged in addiction, plotted conspiracies, but everything was futile. Why did I do all this? I should have understood earlier that all this is going to end one day. It would have been better to do something good, something that people would remember me for. I wish I had known this earlier. When my father was on his deathbed, maybe I could have done something good, something that would have given life a new direction. I called both my sons and asked them how they would manage my last journey. They asked to transfer everything in their name, and they would bid him farewell in a grand way. And again, they both started to fight. And then I thought that everything I've worked for was just an illusion. Nothing was truly mine. I will have to leave everything behind. Death is in front of me. I took everyone to the crematorium, my mother, father, and wife. But I never thought I would come here one day. I lived my entire life successfully, but now it feels like I never really lived. From childhood to now, I've just been running. I never figured out what I was entangled in, and when everything finally made sense at the end, it was too late. With these words, the elderly person fell silent and went to Mahatma Buddha, saying at his last moment, "Can I get something?" Buddha said, "Absolutely. Even if you have spent your whole life in ignorance, knowledge is enough for a moment. Whatever time you have left is full of knowledge. Now, accept whatever you get, be it breaths or death. Focus on the present, and accept whatever you receive with happiness, as there is more mystery in death than life. The joy death can give can be greater than the joy life can give. Just see it fully, moment by moment. Do not grieve, forget the past. Do not worry about the future, unite with the present. The awakening that has come within you, that knowledge will assist you, my friends. But if you like this story, be sure to share it with your friends, relatives, and loved ones. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and press the notification bell so that whenever we post a story, you will know immediately. So, see you in the next story. Take care and stay blissful until then.